Welcome to Coffs Harbour region in Australia. We're under a couple of hectares of Cravo X-frame with an internal retractable open weave cooling curtain, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by the owner, Pravinder Lalli, so thank you. And Pravinder's going to give us a bit of a rundown of his learnings under the system with his blackberry crop. So.
Thank you, Bede. What would you like to know?
So when were they transplanted?
These were transplanted in 2020. We built the structure, we finished building the structure end of 2019, start of 2020. And so they were transplanted in early 2020, which is around about March. Yep.
And what's the variety?
Variety is Elvira, blackberries. It's a Driscoll variety. Yeah. Yep.
And what's our spacing?
So
our row spacing.
So row spacings are 3.2 meters, and it's a good thing because blackberries are a very heavy canopy. You can curve right over and they can start touching each other. Generally, with the conventional tunnels, they're usually 3 meters, even down to 2.8, even 2.6, which is very tight. But these 3.2 meter structures, it's very, very good.
Yep. Yeah. So given you're a couple of seasons in, you've obviously, it's a lot different system to traditional tunnels.
Yes.
What are some of the positives and negatives that you found?
The positives with the tunnel is obviously we can keep the rain out, and we're able to continue picking. The pollination is fantastic. The bees go straight up, come straight into the structure, pollinate all the flowers that we have through here, and happily go straight back out, and we don't need to. And if there's a lot of wind around, we can have the walls closed, and the bees are still coming in pollinating in here. Some of the negatives was just I think it's just a personal thing where I didn't manage the structure in the correct way, didn't use it to its full advantage. In the beginning we did keep the place a little bit too dry. Blackberries are prone to broad mite, and we kept it too dry. We had a lot of broad mite issues in here, and as the years went past, we've learned to just focus in on that and use the structure a lot better.
So you mentioned earlier today in discussion about foliar disease. Have you had any issues with foliar disease?
No, it's been very good. So fungal diseases, generally we do get when we do have those weather events. Coffs Harbour region, it is a high rainfall area, and we can get a lot of fungal diseases, but we're able to keep the pots a lot more drier through those, and just manage the water a little bit better. And the structure definitely helps out. Yep. In keeping humidity down and things like that.
Sure. So tell us a bit about some of the learnings with your pruning strategy over the last season.
Yeah, so last season we'd done the season was very cool through that November-December period, which is December is our summer, and we had a lot of overcast weather. And normally what we do is do a mow down, but I tried a grow through in November for a first week December, chopping out of the canes, and so plants came up, and we started picking 5 to 6 weeks earlier than everyone else, but it was a very it's just been turning over nice and easy, but I've gone into a window where the prices weren't as good, so I think in hindsight maybe a mow down, as we traditionally do, was the best thing.
So prices were an advantage to go early. It'd be a good technique to use.
Yeah,
however, your prices are generally better a little bit later
going into winter.
Yeah,
that's right.
Sure.
So going into these months.
Describe a little bit of the difference in the yield between the primocane and the floricane.
Okay, we said with these the primocane, you generally get, it's a crop that goes from mid to late March through to August, so that primocane, it's quite a few months in there. You can pick on a leaner farm maybe around about 10 tonne on a really good season or a year. You can get up to 18 tonne, so you'd probably say average around about that 14. And with a floricane, which is 3 to 4 weeks of picking, we'll get out of that same hectare close to 30 tonne. So it is a very, very heavy crop crop load in that November period and everything. So managing labour, it is very hard.
Yeah, now that you brought up the labor, talk a little bit about the impact of the challenges with labor in today's times, and how are you using the retractable roof to improve your labor efficiency in comparison to the tunnels?
So the last couple of years we've gone through the COVID period. As you know, in Australia here we had quite heavy restrictions, and we did suffer quite a bit getting labour onto our farms, getting a lot of the maintenance work done. But we found in a structure like this, we don't need as much labour. They work a lot more efficiently, especially during summer. It's a lot more cooler in here, and in tunnels we generally see the labour come in very early, and they're out of there by about 10:30. The temperature's just too hot, and also in here those guys can work all the way through to the end of the day, no problem at all, and they get a lot more achieved basically because of that.
So they're paid on a piece rate, so many punnets?
Piece rate is generally for the picking,
Yep.
and with all the other maintenance kind of work, we generally run hourly work.
So if you're able to work for more hours in the day and be more productive, they can actually earn more in a day.
That's right. That's exactly
So
right.
that will give you a competitive advantage in terms of attracting labor.
Definitely.
Very interesting. This is fantastic, Pravinder and Bede. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bede.